Hello and welcome to the program overview for the Cybersecurity program at MBCC. We'll cover today in these slides basically the courses that make up the program and how they were designed and set up. So you'll have some information around what's in those courses as well. We'll focus on potential career opportunities that students who take the cybersecurity program can look forward to once they graduate. And then if you have any follow-up questions, we'll kind of let you know how you can get in touch with us and make sure that we can answer any of those questions that you may have. So let's start with looking how the program was originally designed or set up. Whenever we look at creating a program, obviously here at MBCC, we want to make sure that we're aligning our students for success in the workforce post-graduation. So we want to make sure that we're aligning with roles that are both relevant in the workforce and required for not just now, but we see a future demand for these roles as well. And when we do this, we tend to always try to align with government role definitions or official job categories. And we look in North America at both the US and the Canadian workforce information to try to ensure that we're aligning to the roles that they use as well, so that there's a bit of standardization in the industry, so that you know as students you're being trained for jobs that exist in the workforce, as well as we can align with our industry partners to very clearly articulate what preparations and training you as students have actually received at MBCC. So if we start with the US framework that we look at, it's called NICE, which is part of the NIST National Standards Organization in the US. And the NICE framework is quite an extensive framework. You can certainly look it up online and see all the various job roles defined within the cybersecurity realm, as well as the tasks or training requirements to qualify to say that you're certified to do those job roles. In Canada, we have a cyber curriculum guide, which is produced by the Government of Canada. And it's very similar. It defines every role in the cybersecurity space, as well as key tasks and responsibilities for people who are trying to fulfill those roles. So again, allowing us to very clearly define our training requirements so that when you receive your cybersecurity diploma from MBCC, you are qualified to work in these roles. And that's not to say there's not a lot of overlap in different jobs out there. But certainly these are some of the main roles that we see opportunity in. And we've aligned with provincial and federal government and other educational institutes to ensure that we're covering the roles adequately that our college can actually provide to the workforce. So if we look from a US and Canadian perspective, the first role we're very interested in training for and designed our program for is either the cyber defense analyst in the US or the cyber defense operator in Canada. Basically, I like to think of these individuals as SOC analysts. So they're the ones that are monitoring and trying to detect intrusion into the enterprise environment to effectively detect and mitigate those problems. We look then next at infrastructure support analysts or network security operator from the Canadian side. And these are really roles that are almost within the traditional IT space of network management and server administration, but really with a security focus. So these individuals are responsible to ensure that the right devices are set up in the infrastructure to protect the enterprise, make sure they're configured properly, reporting properly, and keeping the general health of those systems running. So that's why it's more of an infrastructure-centric support, because you're really hands-on with things like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, maybe it's managing server configuration and group policies, things like that that we use to harden our environment and make it less likely for a bad actor to be able to compromise our systems. The next role is really in the event that that does happen. So a bad actor is able to compromise your systems. So it's very critical that we have incident responders or incident response in the US or cybersecurity incident handler under the Canadian guide. So these are the individuals that would be alerted if there was a intrusion or malware, say, detected in the environment. And it's their job to manage that incident, ensure that the detection has worked, mitigate and remove the problem, and then restore the infrastructure or the IT systems to their regular, stable operating configuration. So the last role gets into vulnerability management or vulnerability assessments. And that's a key role within any security team in an organization to understand what your assets are, understand what vulnerabilities they have, and then manage those vulnerabilities. We may implement technology fixes or even people and process fixes to manage those technologies and mitigate that risk. So in that, obviously, section in that role, there is a lot around risk management and doing security assessments of your environment. So those are the four kind of common roles that we train for across the US and Canadian framework. So now understanding the roles that the cybersecurity program has been designed for, the next kind of logical question is, well, how do we structure the actual courses and content to align to those roles? So although this slide here doesn't show you the individual courses that you would take over the fall, winter, and spring term, it gives an overview of what's kind of in those courses throughout the year. So the important things that we want to look at here are kind of pillars of knowledge, I guess we would say. And if you want to see the detailed courses that make up these pillars, you can certainly check the MPCC website, and it lays out the course titles and the curriculum or the outcomes that are included in each of the courses. But at a high level, if we look at kind of our theory-based courses, and there's courses that run throughout all the terms around our theory, we look at security concepts in general, things like encryption or access control, identity management, all these principles of cybersecurity that kind of go across technology pillars, but as well as processes and people. So we look at risk management. We look at legal and ethics. So these are all individual courses that make up that kind of knowledge pillar that we focus on throughout the program. So those are our theory-based courses, we would say, that prepare you for that general knowledge that you'll need to work in any role within the cybersecurity space. The next section of courses, and there's two specific courses, a fall and a winter course around network security. So network security has been kind of around as a thing we do in IT for many years, obviously. There's always been firewalls and IDSs or intrusion detection systems. But what we focus on is the best practices for managing those devices, how they should be set up and configured and monitored so that we can ensure they're actually doing the job that they were intended to do. So network security is a kind of infrastructure pillar, but it's very critical, and that's why we spend actually 2 full courses focused exclusively on network security, because there are many tools and platforms in that environment, and from our infrastructure-centric roles, as well as security operations analyst roles, understanding that network security piece and being able to manage that is a critical aspect of any cybersecurity team. On the ethical hacking and pen testing pillar, we have 2 courses around that. It's ethical hacking and pen testing, and then a little bit around incident response as well. But obviously, understanding the mindset of the bad actors in the world who are trying to compromise your systems or penetrate your network, you'll see the tools and the techniques that they use, and therefore you can better understand how to protect your own environment. Penetration testing is one of those areas where obviously each company should perform penetration tests against themselves, either through third parties or internal security teams. And there's some best practices and tools and techniques that we have a course on that is focused around how would you perform, execute, and report on a penetration test for your environment. So that's another important pillar of our knowledge. On the defensive side as well, we have enterprise security tools. So when we talk about our enterprise security tools courses, and again, there's one in the fall and one in the winter session, we're really focused on the tools that we use to monitor and protect our environment. So we look at things like anti-malware solutions. Windows has built-in Windows Defender now, but there's other products out in the world that people use to control and prevent malicious software from being loaded on the machines. So we have enterprise security tools there. We also have to look at the monitoring side of it, or enterprise-wide log collection systems, or SIEM tools, security incident and event management. And these are the tools where a company collects centrally all their logs and different events that may be happening in their environment and really tries to make sense of them. So these tools will do built-in automatic analytics to try to detect malicious activity in your environment, be it from servers in your environment reporting events back to the enterprise tools or SIEM system, or even your network devices reporting things back into the SIEM as well. It really allows you to look across your entire environment, all your different systems, what they're reporting to you, and then be able to determine if that is normal behavior or abnormal behavior that requires further investigation. On the defense side and the infrastructure side as well, we have courses both in Linux and Windows operating systems that focus on the basic security features built into those, and then how do we manage those and ensure they're properly secured in our environment. So things like you'll hear server hardening or OS hardening. So what features and services or ports do we need to go in and disable on systems that don't need them, basically to reduce that overall attack surface that someone might try to compromise. So we focus on what's there in the operating systems and how you can best manage those operating systems from a cybersecurity perspective. And lastly, again, if something goes wrong, we need to understand how to respond to that. So incident response from a cybersecurity perspective. So what are the steps that you need to take in an organization when you've detected that there's been a potential breach? And also the forensic side of things. So yes, there has been a breach, but trying to figure out when the compromise first happened, what systems throughout your environment that have been compromised, what information might have been lost, information about the attacker and what they've done in your environment. All goes into that forensics piece that you can pull that information together, and there is best practice and process around collecting that information. And you may use it for future improvements around your defense, but you may actually have to engage law enforcement and provide them with some of this forensics information that you've collected so that they can actually pursue the bad actors or hackers that have tried to compromise your network. So the previous slide, we focused on all of the courses and technology pillars that are required to perform any of the roles that we designed the program for. Our spring term, I like to say we have a little bit of fun, but maybe the students don't always enjoy it as much as I do. But we focus on a 4-week red team, blue team capstone project. And this is really putting into practice all of the information and best practice and tools that we've used in the previous part of the program to actually attack another team's network. So the red team activity is attacking, and the blue team is really the defending side of it. So this capstone project is a lot of fun. We break into groups. We have some students attacking other student systems, and they need to be able to detect and defend those attacks. And then we flip it around, and those who are defending are attacking, and those that were attacking now need to defend their systems. So it's a lot of fun. And this is a 4-week exercise, so there's a lot of technology in here. It really highlights the information you learned all throughout the program, and it's a really fun exercise and something that we actually do in the real world. So when you're working with a company, they would have red team, blue team exercises where they're basically testing their internal systems and processes to make sure that they're protected at any given time. So the spring term is a lot of fun and a lot of work, but a lot of fun, and most of our students find it very enjoyable. So within the courses in the program, we do learn various systems and tools. A key pillar of our approach is hands-on learning. So when we do a course on enterprise security tools like SIEM, we actually pick industry leading products, and you will learn how to install and configure those within each of your environments. So when you get to the red team, blue team exercise, you're using actual tools that you would use in a real production environment to try to detect malicious behavior. So this slide shows one of the screen captures from IBM QRadar, which is a SIEM product and one of the industry leading products, and it's what we've landed on to use in our program as well. But in each kind of pillar of area or technology, we use the industry best practice, whether it's the most capable current vulnerability scanning software. We make sure that you guys get some hands-on time with those and understand how the tools work and how to run scans. And then with SIEM, as you can see here, we do the same. You certainly need to be able to learn what are the tools that are actually used out in the real world. So this SIEM output is really showing you offenses. So it's collecting information from a environment in our lab, for instance, in this case. But it's alerting to the operator, say a cyber analyst or a SOC analyst, would be monitoring this information, looking at these offenses, which are potential bad actors in the environment, and acting on them, whether it's generating an incident to further investigate, or whether it's taking action to try to block the potential bad actor from doing what they're doing. So you can see we use real world tools, and it's kind of fun to use what's out there. So there's the IBM QRadar SIEM, and then we also dabble with some of the freeware tools that are out there. So Security Onion is a free software package that you can download and run at home or in any lab environment, or even in enterprise customers or companies. Some mid-sized to large organizations actually use more and more, they'll use these freeware systems or open source that provide SIEM in this situation, so security incident and event management. So you can see here all the different logs that are coming into a system, different events that are happening in the environment, and it's kind of your way to monitor and have a view into the complete enterprise of everything that's going on, and therefore you can detect potential bad actors. So it's kind of fun to look at these different tools and see that these are systems that you'll get hands-on experience with, and that really does prepare you for what you'll find out in any security team in enterprise company, small, medium, or large. So having previously just covered the technology that is involved in the program, the courses, the why, and how we designed the program, it's important to think about, obviously, what can you do when you have your MBCC cybersecurity diploma at the end of the program? And so this slide here is really to help you understand what potential job prospects there might be. And it's very much focused to a Canadian perspective, but you would find that this is pretty similar in all countries or regions of the world. There is a high demand for cybersecurity professionals. So if we look at demand being that first kind of bullet there, in Canada specifically, the number of security professional jobs is growing by 7% every year. That's a pretty large growth year over year. And there's no indication that that's going to slow down in the coming years. If you look at worldwide, 3.5 million vacant positions in the cybersecurity fields are anticipated or projected by 2021. So that's just next year. So if you're looking at, can I leverage my diploma to get a job in Canada? Absolutely. There's 7% growth year over year. Globally, 3.5 million, right? So there are many positions available. And this course certainly and program prepares you for those positions. Salary expectations will vary region by region, but again, this is based off of a Government of Canada cybersecurity landscape kind of analysis and report just done in the past year. And that they quote that the average salary for a cybersecurity professional in 2020 was $97,000 per year. That might not be your entry-level position. It might be more mid-tier. It's probably an average. But you can certainly expect a significant salary in any cybersecurity job that you would actually obtain after taking the cybersecurity program at MBCC. So all told, the prospects are good. They continue to be good. I don't see any indication that there'll be any decrease in the number of opportunities that you'll have after you complete this course and program with us. So it's a pretty exciting space to be. If you love technology, it's rapidly changing. And of course, we all enjoy getting a healthy paycheck, and it certainly looks like that's something available to you. Hopefully at this point you're asking yourself, well, what do I do next? If you've got all of the information you need and you feel you're ready to go, you can apply right now online at mbcc.ca. If you have questions still, there's several avenues you can take. You could reach out for a meeting with an instructor that can meet with you one-on-one and talk about more information about what's inside the program and individual courses, and make sure that aligns to what your future career aspirations are. You can also book a one-on-one meeting with a recruitment advisor. So MBCC has recruitment advisors that you can meet with at any time, and they'll help you completely understand any of the requirements around the programs, as well as information on what that prepares you for as well. So there's some opportunities or avenues that you can do there. I certainly feel that any of the 3 cybersecurity instructors that we have at MBCC in St. John are great in each of their specialty areas, and they're always more than willing to meet with students and make sure that a full understanding of the program is available to people so that you make the right choice for your both studies but your future employment opportunities as well. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you guys all soon in the cybersecurity program here at MBCC.